Hey everybody, this is El Nash from the Direction You Empowerment Dynasty, and you're listening to the Unapologetic Women podcast, the show for female leaders who love to live their legacies unleashed, unlimited, and unafraid. If this is a community you would like to be part of, visit directionu.co/unapologetic. Today, we're talking about the ongoing journey of becoming unapologetic with the incredible Toby Myles. Toby is a conversion copywriter and owner of Toby Myles Copywriting, specializing in email launch and welcome funnels, sales pages, and website copy for small businesses and solopreneurs. What I appreciate about Toby is she does her research. Her superpower is that she's a great listener, picking up on what her clients say and how they say it. With over 30 years of experience in marketing and entrepreneurship, Toby has a passion for helping other women grow their audiences and business in a way that feels easy and authentic. Thank you for joining us today. This is Toby Myles. I've been chatting to some ladies to come on and be interviewed on this podcast. And when they listen to some of the stories that have been shared before, they kind of go, oh, I can't be on the podcast because I don't have that kind of story. My life has been really good. I've been happily married for 30 years. Like I don't have, and I'll go, when did we stop appreciating that part of life? Like why are we so hooked into the belief that we have had to have suffered a lot in order for our stories to be worthy to be told? Like how freaking insane is that? Anyways, I wanted to share that with everybody who's listening, because if you don't have a fucking horrendous story like some of us do, your story is still important to be told.
Yes.
I just want to say that.
Yes.
Hey,
I think that's worth saying though, because I think you're right? Like, I mean, mine wasn't all rainbows and unicorns, but I also don't think that's necessarily special. Like, it's my story, but I don't think anything that I have experienced is going to make anyone go, oh my gosh, I've never heard a story like that before. Right?
Yes, exactly. I'm so delighted you said yes to this call. You're one of
Me
my
too.
girl crushes. Like
Aww.
you're one of those like women that I got to meet. I was like, I want to be her friend.
right from the start. I remember right from the start, the very first time, it was like, oh my gosh. And then we had another coffee chat just because, for no other reason than just because we wanted to hang out.
Right. And I feel like that's missing for so many women, especially in the entrepreneurial space. They're so focused on every call has to be about business and every call has to be about networking and every call has, and it's so boring. And we miss out on the real richness of friendship and just loving women for who they are and how we feel in their presence. So,
yes,
Toby, darling, welcome to the Unapologetic Woman podcast. I don't even know how to introduce you, really. I mean, obviously, I'm going to do the introduction, the formal introduction. But how I really want to introduce you is Toby Myles, badass, shenanigans inspiring, high vibe fuckery, word wizard that just delights me every time I either see you or read one of your posts or whatever the case might be. That's really how I want to introduce you. Like,
wow,
stuff is cool, but whatever.
Wow, that's quite an intro. Wow, I might just have to like write that down and let everybody do an intro like that.
Because that's really who you are, not what you do. And I think we kind of get caught up on what we do instead of who we are.
Yes, for sure.
I want to say thank you for being an unapologetic woman. I want to say thank you for showing up with such grace and elegance and ownership and embodiment of the women that you've chosen to become after many, many years. And I've not spoken to one unapologetic woman who was just born unapologetic and just stayed unapologetic decade after decade after decade. What has been your experience of becoming an unapologetic woman?
Wow. So, I mean, I could go all the way back to childhood. I'm a middle child, four kids in my family. I have an older sister who's very much like my dad. She's very logical, very practical. She was kind of the goody two shoes. And then came me, and I was creative and goofy and silly. And then I have a brother after me who's has special needs, right? So he required a fair amount of attention. And then I have a younger sister who was kind of like a spoiled brat, right? And so I was stuck in the middle, left to my own devices, right? Because I wasn't the oldest. I was a pretty easy kid, so I didn't require a lot of attention. But honestly, my parents didn't really know like what to make of me, right? Like they didn't think, oh, she's the smart one. She's gonna do, be a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or whatever. They really just didn't know. And I don't want to say they didn't care because I know that they cared, but I think they just kind of left me to just sort of be who I was and figure it out. And it was I didn't always know where I fit in the world. I just knew that I was creative and I was kind of an introvert. Like back then I thought I was super shy, but now as I've gotten older, I realize like I'm kind of an introvert and I'm very much an observer of people in the world around me. Um, and maybe that was like a little bit of social anxiety. So I'm not really sure shy is the right word. But, over the years, I just never felt like I fit. Um, Physically, I developed at a very young age, which was very awkward. I was getting boobs long before all of my friends, which meant they were looking at me funny and boys were looking at me funny and even men were looking at me, right? Which when you're young, like you don't know what to do with all that. And um gosh, it wasn't until probably halfway through my first marriage where I just started to feel like I haven't even taken any time to figure out who I am and what I want and what I'm all about, right? I married somebody 10 years older than me, and his goals and dreams became my goals and dreams. And then we had kids, and I just kind of was in like this cage, and I just went along like that until I just couldn't anymore. I was miserable. And that was in my early 30s. I would say that was kind of like the beginning of the unraveling and then kind of coming out the other side like, this is who I am. And now I feel comfortable in my own skin. I'm creative, I'm an adventurer. I like to take risks. I like to see the world. I like to do things my own way. Like, I don't, if someone tells me, like, this is how we do it, no, I want to figure out my own way to do it, a way that like suits me and my style.
Yeah, I love that. And I don't know if your experience was the same. I had my who the fuck am I moment on my 30th birthday, and I remember it so clearly. I was sitting in Ireland with a 6 week old and a 2.5 year old, and it was raining, and the house we had just rented there was dark and dingy, and I just sat bawling my eyes out on my birthday, and I thought, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, I'm a this, I'm a that, but who the hell am I? And you
Mm-hmm.
say from there it starts unraveling. And I think it can sound like the unraveling was easy, and yet, I don't know about you, my experience was the awareness and then going even further down the rabbit hole until I hit suicidal depression, then coming out of that a little bit, but then creating the next level of entrapment for myself, and
Mm-hmm.
then having to hit rock bottom in that level, and then unraveling it to the next level of the trap. And it's been 20 years almost of, oh my god, here's another cycle I'm finding myself in, here's another piece to unravel, until I finally learned to love the unraveling and just understanding it's part of the life process. And so even though I experience myself as an unapologetic woman, by no means is the journey complete. Like, I don't feel like I'm there because
Right.
I'm still alive. Like, are you
Right.
experiencing it the same? Or because I think a lot of women can listen to us and go, oh, she's got it, it's done, it's nailed. I just need to do this work and then I'm gonna finally be there. And like, there is no there.
There is no there. There isn't. And the sooner you can realize that and realize that it all of it is there, like that is the there is the whole journey and the process and just loving and appreciating all of it, the ugly, the beautiful, everything in between. I mean, when you talk about your timeline, it sounds so much similar to mine. It just the unraveling and then thinking I had it figured out and then taking a step that really was detrimental where I hit my rock bottom, right? Emotionally, uh, once I left my marriage, a few years after that, then I was in another relationship that was abusive. But I chose that relationship because this person was the opposite of my first husband. And I thought, oh, well, of course, right? This isn't who I'm meant to be with. So somebody polar opposite is the right person. And that just took me down another spiraling out of control that was not healthy and probably even worse than my marriage in many, many ways. And so that hitting that bottom really was like the beginning of my awakening where I said, I won't uh, depend on another person for my self-worth, my self-esteem, for finances, for any of that ever. Because once you get in that place and you're miserable, if you can't stand on your own 2 feet financially or emotionally, you're stuck. You feel stuck, right? You feel like you have zero choices. But once you kind of say, no, I need to know that I can take care of myself no matter what. And then I'm happy no matter what, whether I'm single, married, dating, whatever. Like I'm happy with who I am no matter what. And then you really start to blossom, I feel like.
Yes, yes. And I'm a stubborn bitch. So I had multiple rock bottoms. And people always ask me, what was your dark night of the soul? And I go, which one?
Yeah.
Like, like which one? Because I am so I have such a high pain threshold, physically, emotionally, mentally, that I didn't want to just learn once. Like
Yeah.
my rock bottom was like again and again and again. And when I keep saying to people, well, once you've hit rock bottom, you can only go up, then they go, oh, okay, I only have to get up once. And I go, no, no, no. Maybe if you're an easy learner, maybe if you're here on an easy journey, by all means. But if you came here for the hard journey, if you came here, I came here to discover love, to remember love, to connect to the frequency of love. It took me 47 years to even get to the depth of what that meant. Um, and that was huge. And now life feels easier just because I choose love every day. I choose love every day and I choose happiness every day. And I choose to see everything happening for me and looking for the gold, even
Mhm.
in the shit, right? So
Mhm.
go
Mhm.
back to being like a toddler and sitting in the mud, building mud pies and go, well, somewhere in this mud there's gold. Just
Mhm.
don't necessarily eat the mud. And
Mhm.
the universe has such a beautiful way because I kind of get caught up in the story every now and again. And on Monday morning, I woke up. I can't believe I'm sharing this. And my one dog shat in the bed, right? In their bed.
Oh.
I woke up and I was like, oh, Monday morning, and I have to bath both the dogs and I have to bath all the bedding. And at first, I wanted to lose my sense of humor. And then I thought, if everything's happening for me, then what's the lesson in this?
Mhm.
And I just started laughing, was like, Al, shit happens, wash it off, and carry on. Thank you for the easy
Literally.
lesson, right? Thank you for the
Yeah.
easy lesson. But that's
Yeah.
the whole point that I want to get to for everybody is that once you understand everything happens for you, you look for the gold in everything. And so my lessons seem to have become easier just because I choose to see them faster and in non hurtful ways, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Do you
Yes,
find the same
absolutely.
for you?
I, yes. One thing that I have learned, and it's taken me. So I turned 60 this year, right? So I would say it's really just this year that I'm really starting to dial in the idea that that this concept of manifesting what you want and abundance and things like that, it's in you, it's part of you, you create it from your own energy, right? And once you accept that there is a flow that's in you and outside of you, and that you can see this, in the world around you, I think that's kind of along the same lines. It's like, how long are you going to stay in that negative mind space? Because then you realize it serves no purpose. It doesn't get you anywhere, right? And so if you can look at any situation and just find like one notch above, one tiny little, how can I laugh at this, or how can I somehow take, this situation that's less than ideal, or it's upsetting me or pissing me off, right? And find some humor or find some lesson and somehow just elevate it slightly, right? And that becomes like a habit. Like you learn to do that, right? And then it becomes a
Exactly.
habit.
Because while you're in that shitty space, you are creating the shits. And I think a lot of
Yes.
people don't understand that either. You are the creator of your life experience. And so if you're
Hmm.
choosing shittiness, you
Hmm.
are creating more shittiness. And I
Hmm.
also had to learn not to be hard on myself, because I am Mother Nature. Man, I go from sunshine to thunderstorms in the blink of an eye, and I can be a hurricane or a tornado or whatever. And especially women seem to judge themselves for the so-called negative emotions, the anger, the resentment, the pissy offiness, like all of that stuff. And I learned to actually, instead of rejecting that in myself, how do I process that to get out of my system as quickly as possible? So when I
Hmm.
wake up and I'm in a really foul mood, I don't want to work in my business being in a foul mood. I will
Hmm.
take that anger and I'll get on my bike and I'll go and have a kick ass session on my bike with the intention that by the time I get back, all of that will have left my energetic field, and I get to use the energy, the red energy that's created through anger, to have an
Hmm.
even harder workout. So
Hmm.
it's about allowing ourselves as well to let the emotion flow through first,
Hmm.
because what you resist persists. But when you just
Yes.
kind of go, okay, why am I feeling angry? Let me get this out of my system so I can
Hmm.
have a clear head again. And
Hmm.
then get on a call with Toby, or Al, and just laugh about shit. Don't even talk
Uh-huh.
about what's worrying you. Just distract yourself a little bit so you can get your sense of humor back. And
Yes.
then go back to why you started feeling pissy offy in the first place.
Pissy off. Yeah. Pissy off. Well, it gets you out of your head, right? When we stay inside our head alone, it that's not a good place to be, right? You only just perpetuate what is already going on there. And then it's almost like you're looking for more to just pile on, right? I mean, I have had multiple days sometimes where I just wake up and I just feel like off, or I feel anxious, or I just feel like in a shitty mood. And I'll sit there for a minute. I'm like, why? Like, what is so horrible that is, going on that I am in this mood? And it's usually like nothing, you know, really, you
Yeah.
know. And so just, yeah, and I, like you, my morning is my, like, that sets the tone for the whole day for me. I get up, I'm the only one awake, it's quiet, I feed my kitties, they go, back to bed, and then I go downstairs and I work out and I do my yoga. And by the time I'm done, I'm like, ready for my coffee, ready to, chill with my husband for a little bit, and then I get to work. And if I can do those basic foundational sort of self-care things, everything else is just so much easier for
Yeah,
me.
absolutely. And I'm always amazed when people see that as something to do as well. For me, it's such a beautiful experience. I wake up and I put on my jazz music and my candle, and I get my coffee and my beautiful journal. And my journaling is me conversing with the universe, having a really beautiful conversation of appreciation and dreams and what
Mm-hmm.
I'm loving, and then exercising and stuff. And everything is an experience created which sets the tone for the day. And I
Yes.
feel like even journaling and yoga and all of those things have just been so westernized in it's something to do again in order for you to get a result.
Right.
But no, it's not about the result. I blogged
Mm-hmm.
about it today. Results is a trap.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the transformation and it's about the experience. It's about the full immersion in the moment of it so that
Yes.
you can really enjoy it.
Yes. Yes.
The result is a byproduct, but people
Exactly.
are doing things for the result and then hating what they're doing and
Mm-hmm.
completely missing the point of everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, because I think people they think I have this goal and this is how I'm going to go after that goal. But that's the wrong way about it, right? It all starts here in
Old way.
here.
It's the
Yeah.
old way. That's the fear way. That's
Mm-hmm.
the
Yep.
where mass consciousness still is, and so we can have compassion for that
Mm-hmm.
and appreciation for the fact that we've done the work. We're on the other side, and we understand that goals are not about goals. It's about who we get to become.
Mm-hmm.
Goals is just like a carrot. It's just a game. But
Yep.
if you don't hit the goal, it doesn't say anything about you. You're not a failure. It's like it's not this life or death thing. It's just a fucking goal. Like
Mm-hmm.
have fun with it.
Yeah. Yes.
What does
Yes.
it
Well,
mean?
think about it. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've spent and I would now say on the other side wasted a lot of time worrying about so much shit that like either never came to pass or I realize now like everything always works out. Like it works out, right? Here I still am. Here's my beautiful home. I have my health. I have still have all my marbles. Like it's working out pretty well. And what was I ever worried about, right? Now, granted, like obviously, I could, say, oh, I could worry about money or my health or, my business or my family, my kids. Like I could say that, but why? That's just I don't know, just be in the moment, take care of the heart and the mind and the body and
Because the
and
moment is
enjoy
all
it.
we
Enjoy
have.
it.
Like the moment is all we have. We don't know if we
Mm-hmm.
have tomorrow. I'm
Nope.
turning 50 tomorrow. And on the one
Mm-hmm.
hand, it feels like, holy shit, where did that go? I feel like I'm just getting started. And
Mm-hmm.
on the other hand, I drop into the appreciation of how many people don't make it to 50.
Yep.
Like what a gift is this life really, and appreciate, like after this I am getting on my bike because the sun is shining and I'm going down to the beach and I'm going to say thank you to the universe for this gorgeous day by going out and appreciating it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because why not? Because
Mm-hmm.
why would I get into that trap of, well, I first have to earn the right to get on my bike and go have a coffee at the beach because these things on my to-do list has to take priority.
Mm-hmm.
With respect to everybody's to-do lists, burn that shit.
Yes.
What is this moment created for? And
Mm-hmm.
when you come at it from that way, absolutely, as creatives, as artists, a lot of this moment is for the art, right? Is for
Yep.
the writing or for the coaching or the consultation or the whatever it is, because it's what gives us energy. But sometimes what this moment is made for is to just go and put your feet in the sand,
Yes.
even in the middle of
Oh, I
the
love
week,
that.
you
I
know?
love that. Even in the middle of the week, right? Why do we live for the weekends?
Oh,
I just wrote a post last Friday on LinkedIn. I do a Friday fives thing, and I just come up with something to kind of like get people thinking and talking. And Fridays was throw away your to-do list. Let's focus on your to-don't list. And it was the things that are non-negotiable for us, right? And for me, it's no drama. Like I've worked really hard to have no drama in my life. And when people bring drama in, I have no patience for that. But to your point, right? Like, yeah, the to-do list is always going to be there. When you go to the beach, you have your coffee, you just, enjoy the sun. Like you get home, your to-do list is still there, right? But who knows? Tomorrow could be raining and you might not have that chance to go to the beach. And it's
exactly.
the middle of the week. You want to go to the beach? Go to the beach. Like that is the freedom that you have earned
Created.
and
Created.
created for yourself.
Not
Yeah.
earned. I want us to stop wanting to earn stuff. We create it.
Hmm.
We create it because it's what we desire, and because we desire it, we are worthy of it. We don't have to earn it anymore. Like,
Yeah.
because we are enough, and we are creating through our desires, and the desire is enough for you to
Yeah.
be worthy of the desire, because nobody else is creating the desire. I
Right.
really want people to start getting that.
Hmm.
What does it mean for you to be an unapologetic woman?
You know, for me, it is that I don't care what people think of me. I really don't care what people think of me. I mean, I I did that for too long, right? And so now I show up in the lives of the people that matter to me. I show up in public in a way that feels genuine and authentic to me. I use my own, I don't anyone's rules. When I write, I use my own language. If I want to use slang or misspellings, I just do it, and I don't care. I don't sit there and worry. Should I press publish, or when I go places, if something is not right, someone's not being treated right or whatever, I'll speak up. In a respectful way. I'm not rude. Like, I don't appreciate rudeness. But to me, that's what it means, is that I am just going to show up just the way that I am, till the day that I die, because why not, right?
Because how you show up is your responsibility, and how people experience you, quite frankly, is their responsibility. And what I have discovered is you can't please people, because you don't know what mood they're in, you don't know what's going on in their lives. So every time that we are told that we have to be liked, for instance, I'm like, bullshit.
Hmm.
I don't want to show up for you to like me.
Hmm.
Because quite frankly, you're going to like me today, and tomorrow I'm going to say something that's going to piss you off, and then you're not going to
Yes.
like me.
Right.
But I want to surround myself or experience people who love me and who I love. Because even if you say something and pisses me off, I'm still going to love you. I might not
Hmm.
like you in the moment,
In the
but
moment.
I'm still going to love you. And I might not
Hmm.
like what you said, and I might not like what you did, but the
Hmm.
love is eternal.
Yeah.
And that love only happens once we really love and appreciate ourselves. Because once we
Hmm.
do that, we allow everybody else to have their experience, and we allow everybody else to just, it becomes unconditional.
Yeah.
It becomes that I fucking adore you, and that's never going to change.
Right.
Whether you're in my life or not, the love that we have is eternal.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
wouldn't love you any less if you showed up differently tomorrow. I would just be like, oh, that's interesting. Look, Toby just showed up
Yeah.
with all her hair, and she's got a ring through the nose and nipple rings, and and I would be like, oh, that's interesting. I don't need you to show up the same tomorrow. You could show up tomorrow and be like, fuck the world, Al. Like, you've just
Yeah.
stomped my toe. I'm still gonna love you. It's my responsibility how I perceive you. It's your responsibility to show up authentically. And I think authentically means who you really are in the moment.
Hmm.
But then we always strive to be our best selves. We
Yes.
don't choose to
Yes.
be our worst self in every
Right.
moment. And that's a
Right.
key difference for me in being an
Mm.
unapologetic woman, because I think I don't want people to get the idea that what we are saying, if you're finding yourself in a bad space, it's okay to be a real bitch to everybody, and that's being unapologetic. Like, take it or
Hmm.
leave it. Like, it's
Right.
not that.
Right. Hmm.
It's that ownership of who I am
Hmm.
as my best self,
Hmm.
understanding that every day I seek alignment with that. I do the work every day
Hmm.
whilst having the human experience, and then allowing other people to have their experience of me.
Hmm. I think too that along those same lines, to go one step further, like, to pay attention to how things feel, right? Like, we know when something is off. We know when energy is off, and just pay attention. I'm not saying like necessarily act on it, but pay attention and act on it if it needs to be acted on. If something just doesn't feel right, it probably isn't, right? And trust that feeling. Like that's so important. And I think we second guess ourselves. I don't know if men do it, probably not, but I think
They do.
as
They
women,
do.
like we feel these things, and maybe certain generations are told to just ignore your intuition, but no, like it's there for a reason. It's trying to tell you something. Pay attention at the very least, and then make your decision based on that.
It's one of the reasons I went into self-leadership, even though everybody wants to talk about leadership,
Mm-hmm.
because people have stopped trusting themselves. They've stopped trusting that they know the answer. They've stopped
Mm-hmm.
trusting that they know what's good for them. They've stopped trusting that they will do the good thing. They've stopped trusting self. And
Mm-hmm.
it's that intuition that you're talking about. We intuitively know the truth. We
Yep.
intuitively know what's good. We intuitively know when something's not good for us.
Yes.
But if we allow ourselves to continuously be conditioned to override our intuition, and when something feels really bad for us, we still go along with it because we're being pressured for it,
Mm-hmm.
that is like a huge ding, 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 like alarm bell
Yes.
going off.
Yep.
And I feel like women, especially at the moment, need to, because we've always heard of women's intuition. And I
Mm-hmm.
think we've lost it for the last 2 generations. And if we don't reclaim it, it's going to spill over into the next generations.
Mm-hmm.
But women specifically have stopped trusting their intuition, their feeling, their spidey senses.
Yeah.
And it's okay to trust your spidey senses
Mm-hmm.
and to act upon it,
Yes.
and to then understand that wherever you get next is the perfect space for you, and allow yourself, I think, the experience as well of practicing it,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing yourself to not always get it so-called right in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like a muscle that you have to retrain. Like if you haven't gone to the gym for 20 years
Mm-hmm.
and you walk in there, you're not going to go pick up 100 kg weight and start
Right.
bench pressing.
Right.
um, your mind, your artistry, everything is a muscle that has to be conditioned. And I almost want to
Yeah.
give women permission to be more patient with themselves in whatever it is that they want to develop next, and
Mm-hmm.
go, if this was in the gym, where would I start?
Mm-hmm.
And if you start too heavy, you're either going to be so sore the next day that you're incapable of doing anything, or you're not going to want to do anything unless you like us crazy bitches who love the pain,
Yeah.
or you're
Right.
going to injure yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
get to know who you are and get to be playful and be patient with it. And the journey is longer than what you think and shorter than what you want to believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh wow. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now you've got me thinking.
What are you thinking? Let's go there.
I'm just I I think that yeah, I mean that's shorter than what you think. Shorter than longer than what say that again.
Longer than what you think and shorter
Longer
than
than
what
what
you
you think.
believe.
Oof, I don't know. I have to digest that. I have to marinate on that one a little bit. I have never up until this year really given my age a single thought ever, right? Because I feel like, you know, I'm healthy, I'm in good shape, I have a young mind, a young spirit, all those things. But when I turned 60, I started to just think about like what is still to come for me in years, right? And I started to sort of panic a little bit, like, wow, what is that? Like 20 years, 30 years? I don't know. Do I have enough years to like live out all my dreams? I don't know. But I can live out my dreams in little chunks every day, right?
Yes, mini dreams.
Mini
Like
dreams.
every day is a mini dream. Like every day
Mhm.
I want to have at least one adventure, and it doesn't have to be going to the coffee today is my adventure, for
Yeah.
the beach.
Yep.
Like every day I want to create something. I want to tell somebody that I love them, and I want to have an adventure.
Hmm.
Like that's my standard for every day.
Hmm.
And on the other hand, I have real reverence for age, because I almost feel like we've made age insignificant because a lot of people have such a negative experience of age. Whereas if you were a tree and you had 60 years of wisdom rings, that is something to be really proud of, and to kind of understand, wow, this is my contribution to the ecosystem at the moment in a forest full of saplings or dying tree stumps or whatever the case might be. And I'm only just getting started because I get to every day take 60 years of wisdom and create my next evolved self thing that I want to share with the world. Like, that is so precious.
Yeah.
I wish we could start being proud of our ages again. Like, we've got this warped freaking youth obsessed culture going at the moment. I don't want to be young. My kids go, oh my God, Mom, you're turning 50. I'm like, yes, I've never felt better. I've never looked better. I've never thought better. I've never created better. I've never had more lust for life than what I have right now. Or more enthusiasm, or more expectation, or more optimism. Because I've learned the stuff. Like, we are looking at the 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds as 50 and 60-year-olds and go, you have to give me the answer because it looks like you've got it figured out. Forgetting that when we were 20, we also had shit figured out because we haven't lived all the stuff that is going to say, awesome, you think you've got it all figured out? Let's see what happens when we give you some life, baby. Like, what is your next evolution? We forget that, and we kind of go, well, you know, they're all walking around respectfully to all the, you know, young people.
Yeah.
They're all driving their Mercedeses and drinking their smoothie lattes and walking around in their yoga wear with their ripped abs. They must have it all figured out.
Right.
But I did too in my 20s, and I just forgot.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
We could talk forever.
We could.
One of the things I love about you is you use your gift for the word, your gift of connecting to deeper purpose in other people, and your unapologetic way of expression to support others in business. Do you want to tell the audience what it is that you do, why you do it, and how you do it?
Yes. I support other women business owners to help them grow their businesses, and I do that through copywriting, and specifically with a focus on email marketing. And the key, though, is that each person gets to show up in a way that feels genuine and authentic to them, right? And so there's not a cookie cutter approach like, this is how you're going to say things, this is how you are going to show up. No, it's about getting to know the individual and getting to know who they serve, and figuring out what are the things that we need to talk about so that your people realize that you see them and that you are the expert to serve them, right? And so there's a process of research and using the voice of the customer and marrying up art and science and data and putting that all together to speak to your ideal client in a way that makes them go, wow, like Elle really sees me. She knows exactly who I am. She knows exactly what I need. And so and so the mechanism for me to do that is through copywriting.
And I don't even like the word copywriting. It's one of those industry overused words. I want to say is it soul poetry that you write? It is, it's soul conversation. That's how I feel when I read your stuff. It's like sitting in your lounge with a cup of coffee in a space of just absolute safety and trust and having a conversation. It doesn't feel like manipulation. It doesn't feel like there's an agenda to it. It just feels genuine. And I think that is a rare gift that you have in you as an artist practicing in an industry again. And I always say there's a huge difference between the art and industry. And
Mhm.
industry, unfortunately, has destroyed a lot of art and a lot of
Yep.
artists.
Yep.
And so those of us who stay true to the arts, industry almost don't actually want us in industry because we're bad for industry.
Right.
Like we show the lack of excellence in industry as
Hmm.
artists. And so that's what
Hmm.
I love about you is you're so true to the art. And that really is what stands out for me about you. So I
Oh,
love that about you.
thank you. I approach everything as if I am speaking to a friend. In my mind, I am speaking to a friend, right? I'm not lecturing. I'm not trying to persuade you to buy something from me. I'm just sharing with you something that's inside of me that I think that can help. Is that that's show up, we go back to showing up authentically. Like that is how I show up.
Absolutely. And yet you're so good at actually getting into your clients' voices. Like my
Mhm.
voice is so distinct. Because I would
Absolutely.
be like, bitch, please.
Yes.
And I've used copywriters in the past, and then I would read their copy and I would go, oh, that's amazing. But that's not at all what I sound like. And so if
Mhm.
somebody had to meet me in the street or get on a coffee call with me, they would go, who is this
Yeah.
person?
Yeah.
And so when I write the way that I hear myself in my voice and that I actually speak to myself. And
Hmm.
my voice is so distinct. And you're probably one of the closest people who would even be able to get to that
Hmm.
because you get it. You get that, yeah, no, this is really who Elle is. Like
Yes.
I can have a nice conversation, but when it's down to business, I'm like,
Mhm.
no. Let's take the gloves off. Let's get in the ring. Let me give you a tortilla slap and let's get your ass moving. It takes artistry for somebody like you to actually get that.
Hmm.
And patience. And I feel like
Patience.
patience is probably what I pick up from you because you take the patience, you have the patience to get into your client's skin before getting
Mhm.
into their world.
Yes, for sure. And that is one of the things that I tell people. It's not my job to write so that it sounds like me. It's my job to write so that it sounds like you. And there are varying degrees of challenge when it comes to that. And it doesn't happen overnight either. It takes time to kind of develop that understanding of language and mannerisms and all those things so that I can be successful. And sometimes it's easier than others, and that's okay too. It's all part of the process. And I hope that when I work people, they stay with me forever because they see that I get them.
Yeah, yeah. So who are your dream clients? Because I know like we all say we work with these kinds of people, but I
Hmm.
have a very specific energetic type of person that's my dream client, and everybody else is like, ugh, can't be bothered. Love you, can't be bothered, right? Because I know who gets the best transformation with me,
Hmm.
and the other people normally need to be working with other people. So,
Hmm.
who are your dream clients that you can't wait to get into their heads, get into their businesses, get into their lives because it just feels like soul clients?
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So if I look at somebody's, or if I've had a call with somebody and I feel like they're still just trying to figure it out, either because they're just starting or because they're trying to serve too many different people, that is probably not a good fit. So I want to work with more established businesses who really know who that they are serving. And it is usually um, people in the health and wellness space, mindset coaches, um, fit in the fitness space, and also with creative professionals, photographers, branding experts, graphic designers, but people that are not really just at the beginning of their journey, but have a really good, solid practice already, and they really need to take something off of their plate so that they can focus on what they do best.
Yeah, coming together of genius gifts, the way it should be in business,
Hmm.
by the
Hmm.
way.
Yes,
How do
yes,
people
I
connect
agree.
with you? How do people connect with you?
Uh, The best way to find me is probably either LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn, as you know, every day at Toby Myles. And on my website, you can make your way to book a call with me at tobymyles.com. And that's one of those two places you can almost always find me.
And don't take up all the slots because I want to have coffee with her. So, limited calls only, people.
Yeah,
Only serious
exactly.
players.
We'll just have an Elle and Toby day. That's it. We're just going to block that off on our calendar.
You also have an amazing gift for everybody who wants to opt in for it. Tell us about that.
Yes, yes. So I am a huge believer in email marketing. I could talk about it all day long. It's one of my favorite things. I know a lot of people are probably rolling their eyes like, oh my gosh, get a life. But it's what I'm passionate about. And I think that for the time and revenue investment, you get an excellent rate of return. So, but how do you build a strong email marketing? You first need to get people on your list. So when you go to my website, at the very top, if you click the link, you can download my free guide. It's 99 juicy lead magnet ideas to attract your ideal client. And it's page after page of different ideas, just to spark your imagination, pull one of those ideas, give it a try. They work for any industry. It's not industry specific, and that's a good starting point to building your list and then connecting with those people who have, said yes. I'm raising my hand to give you my personal information because I believe in what you do.
Absolutely. And then for me, it's always when I connect with my list on a daily basis, it's like these are real people that I'm writing to. And I almost feel like
Yes.
that is being missed a lot of the times in the email marketing campaign. It just becomes a number game instead of it's a person's game. And look after your people, like
Yes.
love your people, and your people
Love
will
your
love you,
people.
you know?
Yes. Love your people. If your list is big enough, segment your list so that you're giving the right things to the right people. Not everybody needs the same things from you. So pay attention to that. Don't just blast the same message to everybody because specificity is what makes people connect. Don't ask me to say that again.
Say it again, say it again. Specificity.
It's hard, right? Specificity.
No,
is
specificity.
Being specific. Now you pushed me too far. Being specific.
The wordsmith.
Exactly. Oh, you don't like that word? I got another one. Oh my gosh.
I sometimes make shit up, right? I make up my own words. And when I write, it just kind of comes out. And then because I record all my blogs, sometimes I get to the recording part, I'm like, okay, mind, that seemed really cool when you said it, but now that I have to find the timing, it's not working so well.
No.
What do you take an unapologetic stand for in this world?
Oh my gosh. I just think like don't be afraid, just don't be afraid. And I mean this like across the board. At the most basic level, when people are trying to grow a business, for example, they just overthink every single little thing. I don't want to write this. I don't want to write that. No, just write it. Like put it out into the world. What's the worst that's going to happen? And with other things, like trust yourself, bet on yourself. Don't be afraid. And one of my favorite sort of cliche statements is around your comfort zone and how it's a beautiful place, but nothing amazing ever happens there. And that's so true. And so every day, think, can I push myself a little bit more? Can I grow a little bit more just by doing something that's uncomfortable? And do that thing. And if you screw it up, so what? Right? Then you try it again, or tomorrow's a brand new day, like all those things. So So show up as you and just don't be afraid. Just go for all of it.
What's the worst thing that could happen? That's one of my favorite questions to ask myself, especially when I'm standing before a particularly crazy idea. And then I go, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then I go for it anyway. And, sometimes you end up with mud on your face, and learn to laugh at that. I always say, do at least one thing that you suck at, so that you can keep your sense of humor about yourself and laugh at yourself while you're sucking at it. Because that keeps you humble, but it also keeps you real, and it keeps that childlike enthusiasm for life.
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
Toby, this has been amazing. I cannot thank you enough. I sincerely hope that all the listeners is going to connect with you in one way, shape, or form, whether it is to partner with you in building their empires, or being on your list just to be inspired and to receive all that good wisdom that you share so graciously and so freely with people. Or if they want to have coffee with you, if there's any time left in your calendar after I've booked it all out, they can maybe squeeze in a coffee with you. You'll have to bribe her with something to have coffee with you. Or go ride motorbikes with you. Whatever it is, you are worth the connection, my friend. I am so deeply grateful to life to have crossed our paths. And you serve to inspire me every single day. So I want to say thank you so much for being an unapologetic woman. This has been an amazing episode.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
And to all the listeners, thank you so much for spending time with us. And we look forward to spending some more time with you next week. Have an amazing day further. Cheers.